that is REST APIs. I'm taking an example of a REST API, and that API you have exposed multiple endpoints from that REST API. Say your endpoint, you are trying to post a request to HTTP endpoint, and you are expecting a response from it, like a response structure from it, and you want to assert on any field on that particular response. In the sense, like you're testing your API against your each scenario. Actually, to be honest, okay. Say suppose you are testing a scenario where you are expecting a certain output of your input. Okay. So you can perform those assertions on top of that. So you can call it as kind of a functional testing of your API.
Okay, got it. Okay. Okay, so the output will be validated in each of those DB scripts.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So we can begin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can begin.
So we have this right now, or
Yeah. Hi,
Yes.
I'm here.
we have this.
Hi. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen.
So Sudeshna, do you know there are some message on the screen? The stream is already closed or something like that.
No. Yeah, even I saw the messages.
So what does it mean? Or do we need to report this issue?
Yeah, we will. I have taken the screenshot of that.
Okay.
I didn't get it. But did you restart the recording or it's still on?
Yeah, it's still on. I didn't restart.
Good.
Okay. So I will not be able to see the chat during the presentation. So let me know for questions.
Definitely.
And
We'll let you.
I have some network inconsistency, so I may get disconnected for few seconds. I will be back within a minute. Okay.
No
So,
worry. Thanks for letting me know or letting us know. Yeah.
okay. So I'm going to present the Anypoint Visualizer topic. So first I will introduce that what is the Anypoint Visualizer and what is the use, how we can get benefit of this Anypoint Visualizer. So it's nothing but actually the network connectivities of our applications which are running in our MuleSoft account. So it provides the real-time graphical representation of running apps and APIs. So real-time means the graph you are gonna see in your visualizer, it is not created by yourself, but it will be created based on data flowing from your one application to another or to external networks. It displays views of different aspects of an application network graph. Means in that graph, in that representation, you can see your layers of APIs, different layers, like we have system, process, and experience layers, your common services, your consumers, and your external networks, which the target or source systems which you are calling, and API consumers means which are the client apps which are who are consuming your MuleSoft applications and APIs. So it collects data from Mule applications, APIs, and proxies deployed to Cloud Hub to discover all incoming and outgoing connections. So this data is actually metadata, because this visualizer will be on your control plane, and it will not have the actual payload, but some stats about your application, like the URL of the endpoints, and like the amount of traffic moving, and the CPU and memory utilization and other things, but not the actual payload. So it's the part of your control plane. Connections are based on traffic between applications in last 7 days. It means that the graph you will see on your visualizer, that will be only based on your last 7 days traffic from one application to another or to external networks. So if the application is not receiving a data in last 7 days, that application will not be visible on your visualizer pane, or if the application is undeployed or not in a running state, those applications will also not visible on visualizer. So the condition to get your applications on the graph is it must be up and running, and it must receive any data in past 7 days at least. So this is configuration given by MuleSoft, so you cannot customize it based on your requirement. It's a predefined stats. Only MuleSoft supported instance application API or proxy is discovered. Means the versions which are now being supported by MuleSoft, only those applications will be visible on Visualizer. So like MuleSoft is not supporting 3.6 or 3.5, 3.7 versions. So those applications running on these versions will not be visible on your visualizer. So I think the minimum version supported for visualizer is 3.8.7 and above. So if your application is on below that version, you will not be able to see it on the network there. Also useful to inspect performance matrices or policy information. We will see these things in details, that what is performance matrices and policy information. But to give an overview, it's like the policies which you have applied on your applications or APIs. You can see any type of policies you are using in your in your cloud hub account. So you can filter out the applications also based on some policies. Like if you want to see that how many applications are using client ID enforcement, so you can filter out those applications. And any custom policy also, if you have, you can also filter out your applications based on that policy. And also IP whitelisting, blacklisting, all the policies you can check that which applications are configured to these specific policies. And performance metrics means like what is the throughput of your application, the average response time, average delay, the number of errors, the percent of error API has produced in the certain time period. So all those information you can get in your visualizer. Define views, arrange application in layers, and customize the labels displayed for nodes and connections. So it means that the view means the pane you will see on your visualizer, the graph that is called the views. So I will also explain this in a detail later. And you can arrange application in layers and customize the labels. So means the nodes you will see in your visualizer pane, you can rearrange them and you can rename also, just to make it more readable and in the better form. So this is the layout I was talking about. So just apology that I had to blur these screenshots because I have taken it from my client's account. So the confidential data I have removed from the screenshots. We could not manage to get it in our demo account, so I have to use this personal account. So, but I will explain in detail that what these things are. So for example, in this layout, you can see this is the target, means the target application, the target URL which this particular application is calling. So the arrows you are seeing here, it's nothing but the data flowing from one application to another application. So how these applications came into this particular pane, like this is considered as external traffic, this one is a process, this one is a system, and this particular application is the experience layer application. So how these nodes came into these particular sections, I will explain further, that how you can divide your applications into these categories. And you can see in the left side, this is our filter section. So you can filter your applications from your environment and your different business groups and the tags and services. So all those things you can change from this filter section, and whatever criteria you will select, those applications only will be visible here. So if you change this test to development, you will see the development applications here. So this is your filter section. So moving next, I will explain how to set up this Anypoint Visualizer in your CloudHub account. So
So
I hope you.
one question. Sorry to interrupt you. So
No.
from this slide. So I have a 2 to 3 line of business, and in each line of business I have couple of API. So even
Yeah.
if I have deployed my API in different it belongs to the different line of business. Can I see this layer even if API is in different line of business?
Yes. So here also you see that the first test development are coming from different business group. The second test stage development is from second, and this is the third business group. So all business groups you can choose from different business groups. So the applications which are visible here are only depends on the tags and some properties which you need to set in your runtime manager or from your CI/CD. So if those properties are enabled or being set already, then irrespective of your business group, your applications will be visible here. But it also depends that whether the data is moving from one application to another application in different business groups. If it is not happening, you will not see this connectivity between them. But you may see the applications here.
So can I also see the batch based application or no? Batch or scheduler based application type of something? Or
no, these applications are based on the traffic moving from one to another. So for example, if you have a scheduler in one application and there is no HTTP listener, so that application will not receive the traffic from some outside app or some other application. So you will see it, you can see it in a source system like this system layer application. It may have a scheduler or it may have some external endpoint. So you will see it, but you will not see it in a downstream way. You can see it in a upstream, which is calling to some other application.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. So moving ahead, so how you can set up the visualizer in your account. So to do that, the first thing is the roles and the permissions you must have to set up this visualizer. So there is a different role assigned for a visualizer, that is called a visualizer editor. So visualizer editor can create and publish and share the views which will be visible to all the developers and the consumer and the account holders of that organization. So but apart from that, if you don't have that visualizer editor role assigned to you, still you can create the visualizers, create those graphs, save those graphs, but those graphs will be visible only to you and not to any other developer. So those are called basically a private views. So every developer will be having a private view, and if you are having visualizer editor role, you will have a public views that are also called the defined views. So those views will be visible to all the developers in your account. So but still those developers also need to have at least some kind of permission, that is called the read application. Means they must be able to see the application in the runtime manager, and they must have access to your API manager where they can see the APIs. So these two permissions are still required to even create a private views, and to create the public views you must need a visualizer editor role. So if you have visualizer editor role, whatever view you're going to create, that view will automatically become a defined view, means the public view. So as soon as you will save it, it will be visible to all the developers in your organization. So the deployment which is supported for this visualizer is in Cloud Hub, Runtime Fabric, and Standalone. Means you can configure this visualizer into all these three type of deployment strategies in MuleSoft. So what we are using is in the Cloud Hub. So the screenshots you are seeing is from the Cloud Hub account, and also the visualizer looks and some options depends on the subscription you have from MuleSoft. So for example, the trial accounts, you will not see this visualizer, and you will not see these graphs. And for a platinum subscription, you will see some options, but for titanium you will see some extra features also. Some of them I will tell you later, like you can directly jump to the logs and jump to the analytics, and some other places you can see some logs there directly. But in a platinum you will not see few options, but still you will be able to create and configure the visualizer. So to do that, to start the visualizer for your particular application, it's not by default that you deploy the application and it will start showing up in the visualizer pane. For that, you have to enable the monitoring agent. So this monitoring agent is nothing but just a property you need to set. Once you do that, your visualizer will start capturing the metadata of your application, the basic information and the traffic and everything, to capture and show it on your visualizer pane. So once you enable this agent, your visualizer will consider that application, and it will start showing up on your visualizer pane. Without this property, that data will not flow to visualizer from your application, and it will not be visible there. So definitely, if there is a data moving from application to the visualizer, there will be a drawback and some performance issues in your application. So that is that statement is given by MuleSoft, but there is no particular stats given that how much exactly the data your visualizer will take from application, means how frequently it will be and how what will be the volume. That is not a defined one, but there will be some performance issues. So the recommendation for that is to create a visualization is in a lower environment than production, what we are doing in um, in our scenario. So it's definitely up to you, but we prefer to do it in a test or a QA environment, just to just that production applications don't get some performance issues due to this. So as you can see here, Cloud Hub, Hybrid, and Runtime Fabric, all options are coming. So how you can enable this monitoring agent? So there are two ways to do that. One is using the system UI, and another one which I was telling is to check to do it from the properties. So to do it from system UI, you need to
I think there's a voice cut here. We can wait.
Yeah, no problem.
We can take up some questions in that within that time.
Mm-hmm. So any question as of now on
Vishnu,
There is a question from Vishnu.
mm-hmm.
Standalone.
Standalone Mule? What is the question?
or
Sub Abdesh,
now
sorry.
is
Your
Abdesh,
voice.
visible for your,
Avdesh, are you able to hear us?
I can hear you.
yeah,
Yeah,
so we
actually
lost
you
for
are.
a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so we
I
were
mean,
just taking up a question now, since we lost you.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
there's one question in the chat.
There are two more.
One moment. For on-prem, do we need agent to be installed specifically on each node? No, the agent you don't need to install. You only need to enable it. It's pre-configured. Uh, at least in cloud. But for on-prem, I don't have that knowledge for on-prem systems, as my experience is with cloud only. So, but yeah, for as far as the document provided by MuleSoft, no, they haven't mentioned anywhere that you need to install a separate agent. They are saying that, it is said that the agent is already there. It's just like you are, your runtime plane and control plane already being um communicating with each other, even if you are on-prem, or if it is on a cloud and hybrid setup. So data is already being flown, the metadata which I'm talking about. So I don't think you need to do it separately again. So yeah, you just need to enable it so that the data will be available in Visualizer.
Yeah, but for on-prem, they have to install the agent. Just for,
Okay.
so
Okay.
you, and for cloud have another part. Just you can enable by passing some of the VM argument or runtime property. But for the on-prem, you need to install any point agent or any point monitoring agent or something. So yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Manish. So
Yeah, no problem.
yeah. So I have never experienced the on-prem systems, but yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So what indicates the visualizer graphs? So visualizer graphs shows total 3 type of graphs you will be seeing there. So one will be the architecture graph. So architecture graph will show the API led connectivity of your applications. So it's just application network. So what MuleSoft recommends to the development strategy. So you will see that network in your visualizer, that what is your experience layer, which one is your process layer, which one is your system, what are your common services, what are your target systems, and from where the traffic is moving to which application. So that API led architecture you will be seeing in your visualizer. And another thing, the is the policy graph, means which policies are applied to which application, that you can see in your visualizer. And you can filter out the applications, as I said, so based on the policies. So these 2 things. And the third thing is the troubleshooting, means what is the average response time of your application from one application to another application. You will see the arrows, you can see in the screenshots I have shown. So so you will see those network graphs, that from one to another application, how much time the request is taking, average time. And the another thing about the errors, you can see that in past particular time range, what percent of error application has given. And another thing is the CPU utilization and memory utilization for your complete network or for your particular node means the application you which is running in your runtime. So these 3 major things which visualizer provides to you. So that was from the UI, how you enable the agent. The another one is about the runtime property. So for that, you can add the property that is any point platform config analytic agent enabled, either true or false. So true means the application is eligible for your visualizer. And you can add this property directly from your runtime manager, or you can push it from your CI/CD pipeline also. It's so for the developers which cannot start or stop the applications directly from the cloud Hub account, they will not able to do it from system UI. But for your property using CI/CD, yeah, if you have the access to add the property, you can do it from CI/CD, even if you don't have the permission for system UI. So these are the 2 different ways. So another thing is that if you are enabling the agent from the system UI, you will not able to change it from your property. And if you are changing from property, means you are pushing it from CI/CD, you will not get the option to switch it off from your system UI. Means whatever option you are choosing to enable it, that option only will help you to disable it again. So the next thing is the layers. So as you saw in the screenshot, there are total 3 layers: experience, process, and system, as well as some common services and external traffic and target system. So those segments are called the layers. So nodes means the application. So when I say application, suppose you have a as sometimes we do that, if we have very less traffic for our application, we bundle multiple layers in a single deployment. So that applications will not be considered as a separate nodes. So if they are bundled in a single jar file or a single application, that will be considered as a single node. So now it is up to you to decide whether you are going to mark it as an experience layer or a process layer or system layer. Means it will break your API-led architecture and the connectivity graph. But it's up to you that what layer you gonna assign to that application. But you can only assign exactly one layer to one application. So if you are bundling up some multiple layers in one deployment, then you may have to rethink about this presentation, the visualizer presentation, that how you gonna show it, in which layer this particular deployment will go. So nodes are nothing but the single bundled deployment. It can have multiple listeners and the APIs associated with it, or it can have a single application API. So nodes can be assigned to default layer provided by MuleSoft or to custom layers. So the experience, system, and process, these 3 layers are the default layers provided by MuleSoft, but you can also create your custom layers. And default layer cannot be deleted but unassigned. Means you cannot delete these 3 layers, but you can remove your application from these layers. Again, it's same thing. If you want to remove, if you have added it from property, you have to remove it from property. If you added from system UI, you can remove it from system UI. So nodes automatically appear in the specified layer. Means suppose you have added the property of a layer like experience or process or system, you don't need to go to visualizer and assign your application to that layer. It will automatically assign once you add the property. Visualizer will automatically figure out. If layer doesn't exist, it will automatically created. Only one layer can be assigned to one node. Layers can be assigned via system UI or runtime properties. And this is the property which you need to set: anypoint.platform.visualizer.layer. Then you can name it experience, process, system, or any custom layer you want to. Layer assigned using properties cannot be overwritten in UI. Sorry. Layers can be reordered using arrows. So you saw those layers. So you can reorder them, like you can move experience to above and system below, or you can keep system to above and experience as in the below. So you have this flexibility in your visualizer. So this is how you can assign using UI. You need to select your application. Once it is enabled, you will see it in your pane, visualizer pane. Once you select it, you will see this customization option. Here you can, from drop down, you can select one layer or you can create new layers from here. And this is using properties. So anypoint or platform visualizer layer, I have assigned this as a process. So this is how you need to assign. Then the second thing is the tags. This is the third thing. First thing, to enable it, enable the monitoring. Second is to assign the layer, and third thing is to assign the tag. So tag is very simple thing like what we see in the social media, and now it is introduced in MUnit also. So it means same here also. So it will useful for you to group the nodes for specific use case. For example, you have a project XYZ which is having 7 applications, and you want to see the visualizer for only those 7 applications. So what you do that you will give the tag as XYZ to all the 7 application. So whenever you filter your application for that XYZ tag, you will see only those 7 applications. Okay. So tags are assigned as application property, not the server property. Means the tags are specific to your application, not related to server. Multiple tags are allowed. You can have n number of tags for one application. So whenever you will select any particular, you will filter out any particular tag. If that application is having that tag, you will see it in your visualizer. Same as layers, tags can be assigned via property or UI. Same tag cannot be applied multiple times to one node. Means you cannot add same tag again and again for one application. And tags are case sensitive, means small letters and capital letters you need to keep in mind. So these 3 things, that's all you need to do to set up your visualizer, and your applications will automatically appear in your pane. After that, you can filter out whatever applications, whatever environment, and the business group and the tag XYZ project, I mean, you can select, and your graph will look very useful, and you will see your project specific graph, means project specific connectivity of your multiple applications. So views, so as I told that whatever graphs you see there in the visualizer, they are called the views. So views can be private and the predefined. So it all depends on the permission you have. So for every user, at least one private view will be available. So you can do anything in that private view and it will not be visible to other users. So view provide a single source of truth and that are accessible to team members across environments. Single source of truth, why it is said that? Because there is no nothing you are doing manually. You are not creating that graph by yourself. So this graph is created based on the data flowing from one application to another. So it is there cannot be any false arrows or there cannot be any mistake in the presentation in that graph. So it's a source of truth. So views display the saved filter section of tags and environments. So means whenever you will switch to visualizer pane, you will see your private view there. And whenever you make any change, means if you filter out something, if you uncheck or check some filter criteria, you will arrange some application up and down. So you will get the star mark, means the unsave mark there, and you have to save it to keep your changes available. So whatever changes you are making, whenever you will switch to the visualizer, you will redirect it to the same page. You will see where you left last time. So any existing or new app deployed that match the selected filters are added in the view automatically. So means, for example, you have a project XYZ and you have given the tag name and you have one view, and you in that view you filtered out the applications with tag name XYZ and you saved it. And after that someone added one more application with the same tag XYZ, and next day you will come to your saved visualizer view, you will see the another application will be available there, because it will add it automatically. You don't need to manually add any application there. You just need to set those properties, and whichever application is meeting the criteria, it will appear automatically there. Visualizer editors can create auto discoverable views. So what is auto discoverable views? It is nothing but The moment I am creating a view here and I save it, immediately it will be available for all other members who has this access to Visualiser, means who has the access to read application and to view the APIs in API Manager. Those people will automatically start seeing that view without even refreshing the Visualiser tab. So it will it is very much fast and real time, and it is auto discoverable. Only users with the Visualiser editor permission can create defined views. So as I said, defined views are the public views, so you need a permission to create those views. Only editors can create, rename and edit defined views, means the same permission level you need. View can be edit, delete or share. You can edit and delete and share also. Private views are accessible only to editor, means whoever is creating private view, only he will able to see it. But yeah, you can always download your Visualiser presentation. So any type of like architecture or it's troubleshooting or API policies, any kind of view you can download and in an image format, and you can keep it in your documentation. So for better visualization, what MuleSoft recommends is consumer nodes should be at the top. At the top means the application which are your external consumers or the client apps which are meant for external users. They will be coming in the top, and the backend systems or the target system should be placed at the bottom. But it's up to you how you want to present it. And the client ID category. So what is this client ID category? For a consumer node, the nodes are grouped by client ID. Otherwise, they are grouped under the external traffic node. So consumer node means the node which are receiving the data. So the nodes which are in the source, they are not consumer nodes. Like if a schedulers or a batch jobs which are calling to another applications, or some external the client app which is used by some external application not inside the MuleSoft apps. So those are called the consumers, and the nodes are grouped by client ID. Means whenever we call one application to another application in our API led architecture, if we are using client ID policy, we use the client app to call one app to another app. So wherever we are having this client ID enforcement policy, this client ID category will automatically appear there, and based on the client apps, it will start grouping your nodes. So for example, I have a common service. It can be a incident or it can be a logging service. So my 4 or 5 applications are calling to same service. So we will be using some client ID, or we will be using the same URL to call that particular service. So what will this visualizer do? That it will identify such services and it will group them into one node. Means if you have a ServiceNow application, it can be an internal application or can be external URL also. But if it is the same URL, what this client ID category means that it will categorize that particular application in one group, and it will start marking the number of consumers in front of that application. So you, for example, the common service in Visualizer, you will see some number written in front of that, and all the applications arrow will be pointing towards that particular node. So it means that it's this Visualizer will automatically categorize it as a common service, and um, it will show all the arrows coming towards that, and it will show the number of applications calling that particular service. So for that, it take advantage of your client ID enforcement, as well as the traffic which is moving from one node to another. So that's what this client ID category means. So all client tabs that call the same Mule app are grouped into a single client tab group node. The number of client tabs in the group is specified in the display name. So means the number of applications calling to that will be written in front of the service. So this is the screenshot. So in the screenshot, I'm not sure if you are able to see it, but here you see the number 2 is written, means the two applications are calling to this particular node and two other applications are calling to this node. So like here you see this is the Salesforce, it's in the target system, and you see the number 2 written here because this Salesforce URL is being called by this process layer as well as this particular system layer. So that's why the number written here. So why this is this Salesforce is coming up here, because I renamed it. Initially it was a URL. You can rename any node which you want to, just to give it more useful and better presentation. You can rename it. Here you see in the common services these two applications. Here also you see the number 1 is written because this one application is calling here and total 3 other applications are calling to this particular common service. So these common services are nothing but our logging services. So we have one logging service for these 3 applications and one logging service for this one application. So these arrows are presenting the traffic moving. So you see this is the system layer node, but here you see 3 system layers, but not in the single line, in the same line, because this one system layer is calling to these two another system layers. So that's why they are not in the same section, means they are coming, one is coming to top and two are coming to down to that. You can also rearrange them, but this view is came automatically, means these 3 applications automatically presented like this. And the arrows which you are seeing one directional, it does not mean that it's a synchronous or asynchronous. It's not related to that particular thing. These arrows are just based on the traffic moving, means the calling application is having the arrow towards the caller. Sorry, I said opposite. So these arrows are not based on synchronous or the asynchronous. Okay, so this is the architecture visualization, which is showing the API-led connectivity. So this particular external traffic is nothing but the client app which we created for this particular process layer, but this client app is not used anywhere in our API-led architecture. And this client app is using this client app, this particular application is getting the data. So Visualiser automatically understand and figure out that, okay, this is the client app, but it is not used in any other application. So it will assign it as an external traffic. So next is the troubleshooting visualization. So any doubt till here?
Pause, yeah, if there's any question. There are a few questions in the chat which Deepak has already addressed. But if anybody has any more questions till this point, please let us know. Manish, do you have to add anything?
No, I think of this. I want you to take at least one quiz question from your side, and it will be good if you take one quiz question for the audience. Of this.
Okay, I will take it at the end of this
No
this slide.
problem. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So troubleshooting visualization. This is the second category. First was the architecture, and in the troubleshooting visualization, this will provide some more information than just the connectivity which you saw in the architecture. So it shows the current and past health of Mule apps. So health means the stats, as I told, CPU and memory utilizations. From the visualization, you can navigate to any point monitoring dashboards or the logs. Means you can directly select the node and you will see the option to go to the logs of that particular node or to go to the API manager also, and the dashboard also you can go directly from your visualization pane. Matrix provided monitoring stats for the selected node. So as I said, the metric is nothing but the stats of your application. So you will see the option to choose different type of metrics. There are total 4 or 5 type of metrics like average throughput, average response time, this failure rate, CPU and memory utilization. So these are nothing but the type you can choose. That so whatever type you will select here, you will see that figures in your architecture. In the same architecture pane, you will see the average CPU utilization written in front of every node. So in the last slide, you saw the architecture where you are able to see the number of apps calling to that particular node. So, but in the troubleshooting, you will see whatever feature you want to check for your application, whatever these stats you want to check. If you select the average response time, every application will show the average response time it is taking, and in the same way some other properties also. Metric is not applicable for some use cases which depends on selection of metric type and node. So what does this mean? That for example, you have a target system. It can be a Salesforce, it can be a SAP or some external URL, and you select that node to check the metrics, and you may get some message like that metrics is not available for this node. So why that message appears, you will not see any reason given there. It's you have to check, and you have to go to documentation, or you have to figure out that why matrix is not applicable. So for example, if you select average response time in your metric selection criteria, you want to see the average response time, and when you go to your visualization representation and you select a external traffic particular node which is a target system or maybe external traffic, you will not able to see the metrics there, because the average response time is calculated for your application, which is the Mule app, and the time it is taking to process the payload. So if it is an external system, MuleSoft cannot figure out the time being taken by that external system. It can tell you that average at the delay in the response or a failure rate, but it cannot tell you the average response time the application is taking to process a request. So that's why that matrix will not be visible there. So in the same way, failure rate also will not be visible there, because that external system which requests are failing there, why they are failing, MuleSoft cannot figure out. So those kind of applications you will not able to see the metrics. If you have some custom connectors, you are using custom connectors, in those also you may not able to see the metrics. Again, it depends on the selection criteria of the metric. Okay, so this is the troubleshooting visualization screenshot. 1 minute. So here you see I have selected the matrix type as a average memory utilization. So you can see the different metric types available and the time range. So you cannot manually put some time here, but below in this particular metric selection, I think the screenshot could not capture it, but there is a graph, the time and this particular metric selection you are choosing. So in the X direction, you will see the time, and in the Y direction, you will see these properties. So in that graph, you can select the time range to check any specific moment, to check the figures of any specific specific time period. So, but by default, you will see this past 30 minutes and past 24 hours stats in this diagram. So I have selected the average memory utilization, and you can see the color also given to for just a better representation. So you see here it's showing the 58%, and this one showing 55%, 58 again, and the 63. So means in past 30 minutes, this is the memory utilization of these 4 applications. So you see all other applications are faded out. Why? Because these are not the Mule apps. So this average memory utilization is applicable only for these 4 nodes. So these are highlighted and others are faded out. So if you select any node which is faded out, you will not able to see the metrics there. You will not able to see the graph also. So this is what I was meant when I said the only eligible nodes you can see the metrics based on the selection criteria. But if I select some other property, maybe average throughput or maybe some response time, maybe I will able to see some more node highlighted again. So this all depends on your selection criteria. So you see this, I am using this graph, using this visualization, I can easily check that which application is consuming higher memory, and I can directly jump to the dashboard by selecting this application, and I can check the logs, I can check the policies, whatever, and in the better in the better way I can check the overall utilization of by the applications of my particular project. For example, I'm working on some XYZ project, and I have created these 4 applications in that, and I want to check exactly how much traffic is flowing through all the applications. So based on this visualization, I can easily compare that which application is getting more traffic and which is getting more memory utilization. So this visualizer is very helpful to compare your applications of selected projects. Or if you want to check all the applications that may be messed up because you may have hundreds of applications in your runtime, but for any specific project, yes, it will help you to check the stats. This is another screenshot where I selected the particular node. So in the previous screenshot, I did not select any node. So this is showing up the overall figure of my project applications. Here I have selected this particular application. So this figure what you are seeing here, this is only for the one application, this particular application. So here the metric I chose is the average response time. So that's why I'm seeing average response time 4.68 seconds written here. And this is the same figure I can see here also. And below is what you see, this 20 seconds, this is coming from the graph. So which you can see by scrolling this. And you can change your metric by going to another tab, and you can switch different metric. So this was the troubleshooting visualization. So using this troubleshooting visualization, you can check these stats of all the applications together at once. Means you can check these stats in your definitely in your runtime manager, there is also a dashboard stats, but here you will see the overall totally together. And also you can see these arrows are also having the numbers. So in the average response time, when you select the metric as average response time, you will see these time written in the arrows. So also you are seeing some arrows are in a blue color and some are in a green color. So because I selected this application, so the data coming only to this application, I mean from the node which is sending data to this application, is showing this blue line, and the other where the data is not right now moving, that are showing in the gray color. And the all other nodes which are not dependent or related to this particular node are faded out. So in the previous screenshot, you see these nodes are visible, but when I select any specific node, some nodes faded out and not visible. Why? Because they are not dependent to this particular application. So if you are selecting some application, you are going to see the only the dependencies or the related applications in the visualizer. Other things will be faded out. And these blue arrows are, these will show some real-time traffic moving from this particular application. So I hope I'm clear till troubleshooting.
We have one question from Subramaniam in the chat. Actually, two now. If you can just check them once before we move to the quiz part.
Grouping by client apps is one coordinate different like people.
I think it would be better if he can speak it out, because the question is not so clear for us.
Yeah. So outbound connection stat means the data moving outside your anypoint network or something else. So as I said, if what I'm saying this question means so, then no, we cannot see those stats. We can see only the stats of MuleSoft application. Even the custom connectors, we cannot see some stats. Only one or two stats we can see for custom connectors. No, not even HTTP. So this in this slide you see this downstream applications, they all are HTTP connections, but I cannot select any application and check the stats. I can only see the stats for the Mule applications.
So Desna, you can unmute Sweta. Might be she has different question or something.
Yeah, I'm checking. I thought
Yeah.
she already unmuted actually.
So Sweta, can you explain more about this? Like what exactly you are expecting? Okay, no problem. So anyway, any outbound connection or anything, you can go through the endpoint monitoring. You can check there the number of requests or whatever. But in as this mentioned in in the visualizer, you can't do much. But from the endpoint monitoring, you can go and you can click on the outbound tab. You can see what are the outbound connection made by your application and how many requests out and in, something like that.
And to answer the above question, no, the client ID enforcement policy is the one which will figure out the grouping of the applications, and also the URLs which is same and called by multiple applications, means the traffic moving to that target system from different applications. So only these are the criterias to group your application as a common service or what, or any target system or anything. Nothing else will be helpful. Means you cannot manually make the connections here. and you cannot manually group them. You can assign the tag to any application. Like for example, if some application is for example, this logger services you are seeing in the common services, they will not automatically appear in common services. Then you can mark them as a common service. In just like the layer you will mark, you can mark the services and the URLs as a common services. That you can do, but you cannot make the connections from one to another app. It all depends on the client apps you have created and the policies you have applied to your network. So this is why it is advisable that we create the client apps what MuleSoft recommends, not the same client app we are using in different applications. So the client app should be like one application should be associated with the one client app, and whatever applications that being called by that particular app will use the same credentials, or it can have different also. It depends on your requirement, but yes, these connections will be figured out based on your client apps and the traffic moving from one node to another. So next is the policy visualization. So policy visualization is, as I said, you can see the number of policies applied to a particular application. It can be more than one or zero also. It can be you can filter out the policies applied to particular application, or the number of applications having the having the specific policy. So this will show that policy network in your visualizer pane. So metadata comes from API manager. As I said that this visualizer will not have any payload. It will only have the stats of application. So it will come from your API manager. So this is the policy visualization screenshot. So I'm sorry that I have to remove lot of things from this screenshot because of some confidentiality, but yeah, I will explain as much possible. So in the info here, I have selected one particular application, and whatever info you are seeing, it is related to this particular application. So you will able to see the API auto discovery ID here, and the policies applied to this particular application, and the URL of the application, runtime version, and the business group in which it is deployed, and also the arrows which you will able to see in all other visualization. You will be able to see it here also, same like before, but the names you are seeing, these names are coming from my client apps, not from my application names. So, and also you will see some cards here. So what these cards are showing, it is showing the number of auto discovery IDs present in that particular deployment. So nodes are nothing but the deployment. So one node can have multiple deployment and can have multiple policies also. So the numbers you are seeing in front of every line, these numbers are the number of policies applied to this particular auto discovery, or I mean to say this particular API inside this node. And the number of lines you are seeing is the number of APIs inside this node. So here you see 2 APIs, you see 1 API, here you see 11, and there where you are not seeing any card or means any API, that is nothing but your client apps, which is calling to this particular application. So again, you are seeing the same type of connectivity, and again it is same like I selected this application, so all other things have been faded out. Only the dependencies of this application is visible in the pane. This is another screenshot where I am not selecting any node like here. When I'm selecting a node, I am seeing the information related to this node only. But when I'm not selecting, I am seeing all the arrows and all the apps visible here. And you see, I have selected the client ID enforcement filter here. So now what is happening that you are seeing 0 by 1, 0 by 1, 1 by 1, and some different colors here. So these numbers, what it is representing, it is saying that this particular API is fulfilling the number of filters. So out of 1, it is not fulfilling any filter, means 0 filter, means client ID enforcement is not applied to this particular API. That's why it is grayed out and it is showing 0 by 1. The green ones are the one which are fulfilling all the filter criterias. For example, if I have an application which is having IP whitelisting and also having client ID enforcement, so what I will see total number of policies 2. And if I select client ID enforcement, I will not select the whitelisting policy here. I will see number is 1 by 2, means total 1 filter criteria is fulfilled by this particular API. And that API color will not become a green. That API will show up as a gray in a gray color, like this 0 by 1 you can see. So green means the all filter criteria are being satisfied. So for example, if you want to check the applications which are having a client ID enforcement as well as the two-way SSL certificate policy, also having a IP whitelisting. So if you select these 3 filters, the applications which become a green means those applications are fulfilling all 3 policies, means all 3 policies are applied to that applications. So in this way you can check. So for example, I select client ID only, so I am seeing only that figure. So this is how you can check that which applications are using which policies inside your visualization network. So again, I have selected the tag also. That's why you are seeing the limited applications. So whatever screenshots I have shown till now, all are selected for a specific project only. So you are seeing only number of applications in the screenshot. If I don't select the project, by default all the applications will start appearing in this visualization and it will become a mess. So that's why the tags are very important. And if you select only the environment or only the business group, still there may be so many applications, because maybe more than 1 or 2 projects are using this visualizer. So that's why those tags are given to filter out the presentation of a specific use case. So this is how you can see this policy visualization here. So any doubt till now? I'll switch to chat to see if we have any questions.
This I have one quick question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a 3 layer. I mean, process, experience, or whatever system layer. I mean, and I can see all the application listed in the endpoint visualizer with the corresponding tag. I would say like system, experience, and process. And I'm trying to call experience, then process, then system. Then I can see the whole flow in the visualizer. Okay. Now my question is, if I call directly to system layer from the any point, not from the I mean from the Postman URL or from the Postman client, how the endpoint visualizer will look like?
So it will check the client app you are using. If you have the client ID enforcement, it will check the client app you are using to call the system layer. And if that client app is associated, if that client app is there, you will see in the screenshot, you are seeing some apps are directly calling to the applications. So this is exactly what's happening here. We called this system layer directly from Postman using this app. So that's why these two graphs, these two apps are coming outside these two applications. But in actual scenario, we are actually calling this system layer not from any outside network, but we are calling these system layers only from this and from this. But this application is showing this arrow because of this, what you are saying, because of the Postman uses. So we used this particular client app and called the system layer directly. So you are seeing this arrow.
So even if
So yeah, it will.
Yeah, go ahead.
It will affect your presentation if you are directly calling from outside. So, but yeah, nowadays in our use case, our system and process layers are restricted to call from outside. So this will again giving us the better presentation.
And what if I don't have a client app, or if I don't have a client enforcement policy on top of system API? I have API without any policy, and I'm trying to hit from the Postman.
In that case, yeah, I got your question. So in that case, you will see this external traffic calling to your application. So you see this external traffic. So that will point to your application. We also don't have the client ID policy to this particular app. And some other application, some client is calling to this app without client ID. So it is marked as the external traffic here.
External traffic. That's answer my question. That's correct. Yeah. Okay. But
thank you.
Yeah, but one more question. So in real life, who is monitoring this whole visualizer and everything? Like, see, I'm working as a developer. I'm just a developer, and like, what is my role? What is my role in the visualizer? And like, who is taking care of everything? Whether I need to onboard the business person to see the whole application layer or application network, or who is responsible in general?
Yeah, that's very good question. I forgot to exactly tell that thing, that which is exactly going to use this and which will take the benefit of the visualizer in your organization. So being a developer, yes, you will not need this, and you may not have access also to check other visualizers, because the permission needs really high level role. The visualizer editor permission you cannot restrict to the environment also. So if some developer is getting that permission, he will get it for all the environments and all the business groups. So it is very restricted environment, and only responsible persons will get this permission. So being a developer, yeah, we may not have the responsibility to monitor it, but yeah, if we want to check some public views which are created by the architect or the lead or the senior developer, we can go and check the number of applications in our project. Sometimes being a developer at the lower level or at the junior level, we may stick to only one or two apps in the whole project, and we may not get the bigger picture of our work, what we are doing. So if we have this visualizer available in our cloud hub, every developer can go and check the total applications inside his work, inside his particular project. So he will able to get the clear picture. And the architect who is actually responsible for this presentation, who can use this presentation into the documentation to show the client the number of applications and the traffic moving through, the number of policies used in each application. And about the monitoring, yes, the same who is checking the stats of the application, memory utilization and everything, who is checking your stats, dashboard stats, they will also check this visualizer, and they will check the stats of overall applications of project. Instead of checking one by one, they can check the complete figure here. And senior developers, yes, they can, it is very interesting figures for them. They can check the number of request coming to the application, number of the utilization, CPU utilization happening, and the errors, yeah, which is very important, that how many errors the application received in past 7 days. For example, if it is in the SIT phase or a UAT phase, you can check the errors also in this presentation. So yeah, for developers, it is interesting to explore your application network, and it will give you overall picture of the work you are doing at being a low level, or being a handling a single or double apps.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. And just one more thing, just I want to hear from you or from other folks, from the audience, like how I can enforce or ask business to onboard this type of visualizer, monitoring, or everything, I would say. How the business will get benefited from this type of, because they need extra subscription or something.
Yes. So yeah, I would like to add it, like in our business case, even we also made a very good use of this visualization. So our application was in SIT, or project was in UAT phase, and they were doing the load testing. And in that time, we were not aware that which application is going to get more requests than the other one. So yeah, we had the rough idea, but not the exact idea that how much vCore exactly we need to increase to any particular app. So in one test case, they sent very big request without any filters. They made some query. It got very high number of records. So in the visualization pan, next day we came here and we checked the utilizations of the applications in last night. So in that time, we checked that one particular application was going up to 90% of utilization, and other applications were at very low level. So immediately we start checking all the logs, that at what time what exactly happened, and we figure out that okay, there were some 2 or 3 requests which were consuming very huge data. So we fixed our what I say, the deployment, the design, we changed it, and we again started following this visualization. So after that, again we checked it, and we found out that we need to increase the vCore for only this particular application, because every time we were seeing the figures, it was crossing 60% almost every day. So because of this visualization, we figured out that particular only one application is being consumed more instead of all other 7 applications. So it helped us to figure out the prime application of our network, in that particular project use case.
Yeah, makes sense. Thanks. Yes, listener. Extra anything? You can go ahead now. I think speech session.
We have a quiz now, which Desh was gonna take.
Okay,
I have a question. I have a question on top of that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So I would like to know, why do we not, put some query parameters? When the application is returning too much of data, at that time we can minimize that by adding the query parameters and restricting the number of rows to be written, if that possible. So that might be a one possibility, right?
Well, that's what I said. We applied the solution. We changed something in the design. So it was just a testing phase. So being in the development phase, we may not have the exact figure what client is looking for, how much data they can query in a single request. So it was supposed to be less, but they did not pass any query parameter. I mean, because all query parameters optional, they did not pass it, and somehow the number of records became in lakhs, very high. So which was not expected, and it was not fitting any business criteria during the development what we get from client. So that's why it helped us to find out that what happened exactly during the testing. So otherwise there were thousands of requests in that testing cycle, so we may not able to find out that this particular request took 5 or 6 minutes, or now means unexpected time.
Yeah,
We may not have.
I got you. Thank you. Thanks for your explanation.
Welcome.
Yeah, turning this sorry. So using this will also have performance impact, right? Just in case if you use this in production,
yeah,
it will have a
exactly.
performance impact, right? So it's not a tool that will be regularly used by the production support teams. It will be used more of a pre-prod when we are doing a performance volume and testing. That's when it will be of much use.
Yes, it will be useful for that. As I also said, that we are also not using for production because we don't even have the exact figure how much performance will be impacted. So it's better to have it in a QA or a testing cycle.
So that's what, every worker or every on-prem runtime, they installed endpoint monitoring agent, and that agent used to use some capacity of the core or CPU. That is why they said that it will consume some power and it will impact the performance. So that only for the support perspective, or you can define your application in such a way that this mentioned that there will not be any production issue or something going further. So you can monitor your application before going to the production with respect to all the metric. And yeah, that is what I can say. But it's not always you can run or enable the monitoring and visualizer in production, because it will consume your CPU, vCore, or worker memory, whatever. Yes. Any question?
Let's move to the quiz.
So Manish, I just had that question which you asked in my mind for quiz.
Sorry for that.
About that, if we consume an application from Postman, what will happen?
Oh my god.
Nice.
Anyways, if you have any question, then it's good. Otherwise, I need to think of what I can ask for this.
Okay.
You stole mine.
I was not aware that you have a this type of. It's happened,
I was not supposed to answer it in that case. Yeah, I just thought it after answering.
Okay.
So
yeah, you can ask any question. I'll take later one question also. You can take, just a basic question, even whatever and anything from the slide or anything, or real life scenario you can ask. So that's not a big.
I'm not getting anything in my mind right now.
Okay, so I have one basic question for the audience. I can take the one question, and might be too basic, but I want your support on that, from the answer perspective. selecting the audience from the chat. You can help to this stuff. Okay. So I have a question. As far as session, you can move the node from here to there, or you can edit the node in any point visualizer dashboard, I would say. So my question is, what type, in which business group I should give access to, or which business group I should give access to the person so that they can move the node or they can edit the node. Like I have three business group. One is parent business group, another is a corresponding child, and another is a corresponding again child. Now I have deployed my application in bottom child group. So in which business group I should give access so that they can edit the node in the Anypoint Visualizer dashboard?
We already have a few answers.
So yeah, the question, I have a three master, then child, and another child of the child, and I have deployed my application in bottom child group, the lowest bottom one. Still, I'm looking for answer. Yeah, last child, bottom child. Okay, so I think all done. Doesn't depend on the business group. Someone answered. Consideration of the parent. So that's correct. The answer will be master group. Correct, master business group.
Yes, because you cannot change the master business group applications without having that permission, right?
Yeah. So answer will be master. So Suresna, I think you can note down the name.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I have noted down.
Yeah.
So we had 2 questions, Manish. What do you suggest?
So I have one more question.
Yeah,
You
please.
may not consider it as a quiz question.
No, we wanted to ask 3 questions.
So, yeah. So suppose you have
this will be the quiz question. Just
we'll make this a quiz question.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, suppose there are so many roles. First of all, let me explain the background. So there are so many roles in your organization, and you may not have the predefined role assigned to your profile. So in that case, the visualizer editor will you be able to get that access to your role which may not meant for it? I mean to say, you only have a read application and the API manager view permissions to your role. Your role is a custom role. So will you be able to change anything in visualizer or not? Will you be able to create the views? A lot of people marking no. Okay,
So
you need to.
Some people are
you need to give reason also, not just yes or no.
Yeah, a little bit of explanation.
Okay, Shweta answered it accurately. We can create custom role and assign visualizer editor permission. Exactly. You can have custom role with this particular permission. And apart from that, you can always have your private view. So whoever answered for a private view as well as the custom role assigned to visualizer editor permission, these two are the right answer.
Oh, great. So we already have 3 quiz questions. We already completed, no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, great. Thanks, Abdesh.
Thank you.
So anyway, the postman question was quite good. Anyway, I should not ask, but I don't know.
Actually, you can, but I should not have answered it that way.
So in both ways, you have some fault, I have some fault.
Yeah.
Asynchronous one.
So we have almost come to the end of our session. I will just walk through the last two slides. I'll share my screen, and Manish, like we do every time, we'll do the quiz. I forgot the
Yeah,
URL that we
URL.
use.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. Okay, let me share the screen. I was just filtering out the names actually, but we can do that later. Okay, I'm just sharing my screen.
So this way you have a different MuleSoft keyset than a screen one.
This one, I don't have this. I'm wearing the M1.
Okay.
I've shared with you the
Okay,
link, Vishnu.
so okay, all right. So firstly, this is a request to everybody to nominate yourself as a meetup speaker, and if you have any topics or suggestions to reach out to us. As Akshita also mentioned, along with having a regular meetup, we are planning for mini meetups, very short ones. So whatever you're comfortable and you're ready with, so please do reach out to us and nominate yourself. And a very special thank you to our speakers for today, because we gave them very less time and they came up with a very good topic. So thank you so much once again. And so basically, this is it's a slide that we always go through. So if you have taken any pictures during this meetup, or you want to share your view and feedback in any of the social medias like Twitter, LinkedIn, or Instagram, please do put a hashtag of #Meetup or #MuleSoft Meetup when you're posting anything. Also, invite your network, your friends, colleagues to join us in our group, register and join our group. You can contact the three of us either via LinkedIn. This is our Twitter handles. You can just save the same as well. Then we have this new Instagram page, Mumbai_MuleSoft official page. You can follow us here to get live updates, like the updates that we put into like pictures and about our next meetup. I think Akshita has already shared the Telegram link. We also
Share
have a
it again.
WhatsApp group and a Telegram. Yes. So since our WhatsApp group was over, like there's a restriction of 250 participants per group, so we decided to move to Telegram so that we can have more participants at one place, because the discussions are always very good and helpful for everybody. And as soon as our event will end today at 8 o'clock, you all will get an email for the feedback. Please do fill that feedback because it's really helpful for us. So please don't forget to fill out the feedback. I think that is pretty much for about the slides. So I'm just moving out. But Akshita, can you do this quiz thing, because I am just trying to sort the names. I've given you the first quiz winner's name. So
Yeah, sure.
I will send you the second one in a minute. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sharing my screen.
Yes. Manish, will try Kahoot for our next time, like Hyderabad team is doing.
Yeah, so we will do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are
Because
the
this whole month we are quite busy, with the back-to-back meetup.
Or we
So
can try it for Kuala Lumpur.
yeah, Kuala Lumpur. Oh my God.
Yeah.
you all are able to see
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I can
Akshita, you can see this.
right? Sai, Ravi Kumar, and Taluri, right?
Yes.
It's Ravi. Congratulations, Ravi.
Ravi Kumar Shah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you there in the?
So Ravi, are you there? If you are not there, you are not the winner.
Yes, Ravi is there. Can you please share your email ID with us, because we will need to send you the prize by.
So if some person is not there, it means they are the loser. They are not winner.
Please do share. Yeah. Ravi, please do share. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We just.
Especially next names.
Yeah, I'm just sharing because a lot of people answered. So I'm just checking who answered master.
Okay.
As yeah, I'm done. I'm just sharing in a minute. Okay. This is the okay. Sorry, I didn't put a comma. I hope you can read it.
Until then, you can also fill out the forms, the mini form thing, mini meetup thing. Sorry.
Manish, can you help me with the third quiz winners? Shweta was one, and who answered correctly?
Let me check. There are 3 to 4%, I would say.
Yeah.
Right of this, are you there?
Sorry, I got a call. Couldn't hear you. Can
Oh
you?
no. The last question answer, right? Smita, someone had mentioned the answer. You
Tell
remember?
who answered correctly.
Visualizer master group, not the master group one, right? The other one, the custom
Yeah,
role part.
Shweta.
Yes.
Yeah, Shweta Bhanushali.
And
And
There-
one second. Let me
let
scroll up.
me-
And Namish.
Namis. Only 2. I think 3, right? Or only 2?
Only 2.
Only 2.
so you are doing the second one?
Yeah.
I can't see the screen. Is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
She shared it. Oh no, she's not sharing that.
Just send me the name suggestion so I can check.
For the second one I've sent, I'm sending you the third one.
There is another Shruti Ravichandra that she has also answered the same.
Shruti for third one.
Yeah, Shruti Ravichandra. Custom role can be created and assigned. Is it correct answer? Yeah, it's correct, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shruti Ravichandra. Yeah.
Right now we are running this wheel for our second question.
Okay.
Yeah, is it good?
Yes.
Oh, Hiralal, great.
Kirala, are you there with us?
Hiralal is always present, I think.
Yeah.
Can you please share your email ID?
So I'm going for the last one.
So last one has only 3
1
names.
minute. We didn't hear from
last one, I guess this one is repeating. I thought they were repeating, but that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, but Namis is not a winner, right? As of now, for the 2 quiz.
No.
So you can add them. Yeah, you can add him. Yeah. Shruti.
Yeah, it's Shweta. Congratulations.
Shweta, congratulations. And Hiralal, can you please share your email ID in the chat?
So yeah, so this was expecting to be in the Shweta, I know.
This is speaker.
So this, thanks.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. I've got
I'll reach out to you separately. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And like always, we had a very interactive session, which is good for everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for your participations, everyone.
You want winner and a speaker to stay in the call for a moment or no?
Yes, we'll take a picture.
Thanks, Manik. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks, family.
Yeah, thanks, Manik. Thanks, everyone.
Hey, thank
Shweta,
you. I enjoyed that. Thanks, bye.
Yeah, please stay in the call.
Yeah, here's Deepak, Shweta.
It's on desktop. Okay.
I don't know, Shweta has a problem with the mic, or do
With
we have
mic,
problem
yeah.
from our side or from their side?
But can you at least share your screen? That was enough, actually.
She's
Okay.
desktop and headset issue. That's fine.
I know. I thought the baby issue.
Manik, you seem to be in the car.
Baby issues as well.
In a four-wheeler.
I had to leave somewhere urgently.
Hopefully, you have stopped somewhere.
Okay, so this is again a fun fact, Suresna.
Speaker is taking the session from the car.
Yes. And take the picture, I know, and share with the with Marina, Sabrina, whatever. And make sure this.
They always ask us, what are the fun facts? What did you do fun in this
meetup?
We have many fun facts this time.
Yeah, this time we have
we had 5 ambassadors, 7 meetup leaders, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Including us, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, I've taken pictures.
And am I there in the picture?
What your email IDs, please? Here is the email ID I do have.
Yeah, I've got. I've kept it. No worries. And speakers, obviously, I have. I'll send them a separate email.
Okay.
Thank you. It was a good session and really in such short notice.
Yeah, I know that.
Actually, thank you so much. It was a nice one, actually.
Yeah, I know we are quite, serious that I think people will not able to do, but somehow, you have shown your hard work and everything.
Actually.
Yeah, I was fascinated about the questions, actually. They were nice questions. To be honest, yes.
We actually didn't have the people from Australia this time. They are also pretty.
Oh.
Mary something.
Mary and another person, I forgot his name.
Okay.
They have so many questions. I mean, they keep the event interesting, actually.
Yeah, we generally used to have a very good question while which I would say every meetup has very good question.
Right. This was my first Mumbai meetup, to be honest.
Oh, wow. Are you from Hyderabad or from Mumbai? Your location?
Yeah, I'm from Hyderabad, actually. I'm from Hyderabad, basically from Hyderabad, but actually I was in Mumbai for a few days, a few months as well almost, and a few years in Pune as well. And then again, I'm back right now in Hyderabad.
Okay, that's nice.
So this?
Yeah, they had a meetup today, no? Hyderabad.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, unfortunately, I missed that for now. I had to attend this one. So hopefully I'll attend the next one as well.
We've been coinciding, we're having the same day. Like last time also they had on 1st of August. This time also same.
Right.
So we have requested for a calendar, which is very important. We need a calendar where we be more sure when who's having a meetup on which date.
Do we have that link?
So we still don't have it. We requested if we can get something like that.
Okay, that would be really helpful. Yes.
And we can actually be in touch with other leaders also, so that we can get to know when the other meetups. Like Shravan, we can ask him when he's planning Hyderabad meetup, the next one. So we can actually avoid the same days.
Yeah, that's correct. Got that. Shravan Lingam, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see. Yes.
Okay, then.
So, Sudeshna,
Yeah.
you will be posting over the LinkedIn at this time?
I can do it if you want.
Yeah, yes,
We
please
have,
do it this time. Yeah, and add the fun fact also.
yeah, so we have lots of
And
points,
we
right?
have
Like
lots of
Akshita, you
points.
said the
Yeah.
form, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mini meetup form has to be added. Then fun facts has to be added.
Mm-hmm.
We had lots of like
I
the
have
participation was good.
pictures also, yeah.
Yeah.
So just post, and Akshita, you will upload that everything to the
Yeah,
portal
I'll
and
do
ID,
that.
right? Okay.
Yes.
And I would also request Abdesh and Deepak to.
Yeah, I will share with you all your photos also, which I've captured with screen and also for meetup leaders, like for the quiz winners,
Yes.
also share with them. And
Yeah.
don't forget to use the hashtag of Mumbai meetups and Mumbai meetups.
Sure.
Yeah, so at least just post something in the LinkedIn so that you are get recognized as a community contributor. This is
Yeah.
something that will add value to your profile, not now, but in future.
Yeah.
So everyone is counting or seeing on everyone what you people are
Right.
doing for the community. So I would request to tag our leader or MuleSoft and post something.
And MuleSoft also, @MuleSoft.
MuleSoft, yeah. Make sure MuleSoft, yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Because this is
Thank you.
something that we know you, how you people have worked hard, what you have presented, but for the community person, at least from the management perspective, we need you people to post something in the link.
And how did you all find Devi today? Like,
One, I would like to suggest one change in this one. I see the questions and normal messages are actually being mixed up in the single window actually. Yeah, it should be separated to be honest, so that what would happen, the speaker could answer those questions at later point of time once his presentation is finished.
That is a little tough ask.
because that thing we don't have in Zoom also. They're actually trying to level up to Zoom.
Right.
This feature
But at least if they can unmute the people and we don't have to do it manually.
manually, yeah,
That is
that
only
yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, that's correct.
We
Yes.
actually had to unmute everyone who attended today. So we have around 104 people who had.
Shit, okay.
No, it's 107. I can see now.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought it's less. I wasn't knowing it's 100 and just crossed 100.
107 check-ins I can see.
Okay.
I was aware 102, but no, yeah.
Okay. I thought it's less than 100. I wasn't aware about it crossed 100.
These people checked in and then maybe they dropped off or
I
whatever.
dropped off, yeah. I think maybe because of baby issues, something like that. Because two people I know they were facing baby issues.
Just share those pictures also with me.
Yeah, I'll share those pictures.
So we have to take our picture now. The tradition we do every year.
Three idiot.
And they actually use our photos too everywhere. Like today also I saw somewhere like Miriana Provit, they had used our community thing photo.
Yeah.
Next
So
time
you
I'm
start with
bringing
MuleSoft,
that
Meetup.MuleSoft. It's our Mumbai photo.
next time I'll get that handy. I'll place it back with me. Today I was too lazy to go down and get it from the car. Next time,
I've seen Francis doing that, so you can also do it.
Yeah, sure.
So so this and Deepak, I might I'll reach out to you guys because I have very less knowledge in that area from the monitoring perspective, I would say, because this is something that has been taken care by our platform team.
Yeah.
And I want to get high deep dive insight on the topic. I know at high level what exactly it is because we know at least the latest product and trend. So, but from the knowledge perspective or something, might well reach out to you guys at least to help. To know something.
Sure.
Is it okay for you guys of this, Deepak?
Yep. Anytime.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem. Because I can ask my admin or my organizational SME or platform SME to give me access for that, at least for the day, but something that I need to have some knowledge on this topic.
And Manish, regarding the 50 people who we are planning to give the names, I have few of the requests which I've got. So I'll send out the names to you. Or should we create a sheet and we can add the names in that only?
or we have a group, right? We can send there itself.
Yeah, but the list we need to maintain it, right? All the names, whom are we adding? So I'll make an Excel share with you, Sudeshna.
Okay. Yes.
So whatever names you are getting in, you can add in that only. So we'll have only single list. We'll be having all.
And Abdesh and Deepak, might be I will add you people also as a part of the product team member, because you have a great knowledge. You can at least help us or product team to get some insight from the product perspective. This will get advantage to your profile, honestly speaking.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll be obliged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So might well reach out to you through the LinkedIn. I'm not sure whether I'm connected or not, but I'll add you people.
Sure. I think I had
okay.
posted a request to you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, then I think Abdesh and Deepak, you can drop off, and I will reach out to you.
Yeah, thanks, Manish.
After this month. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much.
And, and make sure you post individual profile something about the meetup, what exactly people did.
And tag us.
Yeah, and tag us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Just for you guys, not for us. Just for you guys, at least.
Sure. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
अभी तो हिंदी बोलने के लिए तो मौका मिलेगा